follows an extract from my book Letters from the Broom Cupboard, available from Amazon. Dear reader, I do wonder what often motivates people to want to learn to play. With adult learners, the answer is obvious, and that it's a genuine desire to play an instrument. With younger pupils, the answer is less simple. There are, of course, parents who genuinely desire to give their children the opportunity to learn to play. The benefits that playing music offers and the sense of satisfaction that learning a musical instrument gives are reason enough. But I'm not convinced that this is always the underlying cause for bringing a child to lessons. In fact, I'm of the opinion that this is more likely the exception rather than the rule. I think that to many students, music lessons is just another club. Whilst I'm sure that it's a good thing to encourage our youngsters to have a healthy interest in a variety of topics, the concept can be, and often is, taken to absolute extremes. I've known 7-year-old children submitted to a weekly schedule that would make me shake in my boots. On top of breakfast club each morning, which I still don't understand the need for. And then a day at school, each evening has its own allocated activity, or in extreme cases even 2 clubs on certain evenings. A typical timetable could look like this: Monday, swimming lessons; Tuesday, scouts; Wednesday, football followed by piano lesson; Thursday, taekwondo; Friday, dance lessons, ballet, jazz and tap; Saturday, drama group in the morning; Sunday, horse riding morning and afternoon. Apart from wondering how on earth parents can afford all of this, when does the poor kid get a chance to learn their spellings, read a book, or simply relax and do some colouring in? I suppose that the simple answer is they don't. I've known reading and homework to be squeezed in at the poolside whilst waiting for the earlier swimming class to finish. I suppose the bare essentials get fitted in somehow, but there's no time to just be. Also, I'm not very knowledgeable in the science of anatomy, but I'm sure that ballet uses very different muscles from taekwondo, and too much of this mixture at a younger age can't be beneficial. This does, however, explain why some pupils never do any music practice between lessons. For quite a few years I made the honest mistake of thinking that I was being generous in giving pupils colouring in to do as homework. I'd photocopy some of the illustrations in their tuition book so that they could colour over the black and white copy with pencil crayons, and think I was giving them a treat instead of doing piano practice. I honestly thought I was giving the child an excuse to legitimately relax and play colouring instead of practising scales and pieces. It took a long time for it to sink in that many of these kids, despite owning a Nintendo DS or Kindle Fire, don't actually have any colouring crayons. I used to spend hours upon hours lying on the floor, resting on my elbows with my heels kicking in the air as I coloured pictures resting on a tray on the floor. I used to colour in paper doilies or use them as stencils over paper. How successful my attempts were I can't say without prejudice, but it kept me happily occupied for hours. Years later, my daughter and I spent days on end making flower designs using a compass to create the petals, and then coloured them in as took our fancy. For a considerable number of years, these were the basis for the staple homemade birthday cards from our family. When a small girl explained that she couldn't complete her homework, not that it was a burden I'd intended, as she didn't have any art equipment at home, I was aghast, but I thought it must be an isolated case. Sadly not so. I suppose that compared to the sophisticated graphics on computer games, pencil crayons do seem a bit out of date. But I think it's a sorry state, and I'm not sure that it really represents progress. The other problem was that these kids never really have the time to do their piano practice, and so they certainly haven't got time to do any unnecessary colouring sheets. The problem with so many activities is that it prevents any one thing being done really well. If every minute is allocated, then when is there time for the child to do any piano practice? Or when can they practice their ballet exercises? Or when can they put their swimming lessons to good use and actually go swimming? I do wonder if some parents choose for their children to take music lessons merely to provide a topic of conversation whilst waiting in the ballet changing rooms. At least then there is the scope to discuss what colour the music room colour scheme will follow when they next redecorate. Gratefully yours. For the full collection of Letters from the Broom Cupboard, available from Amazon in paperback or as an ebook, follow the links in the cards in the description box or find details on my website at sharonbill.com. Thanks for listening.